Welcome back to another episode of Tuft Talk by CMC. We have a exciting episode ahead and want to welcome you in and welcome Will and Andrew once again to another awesome episode. Very excited about. But Will, Andrew, I did figure out after our last episode with Glenn, and if you haven't seen it, please check it out, where the little international flavor we had. I did figure out we have at least 3 viewers besides our parents. So
really,
that's good news.
It's good news.
So we're doing something right again.
Yeah, because I've had 3 different people come up to me and mention something about the word Moorish as our English word for I want more of it.
We're introducing it to our culture here.
Yeah.
Were they as fond of the word as you were?
They were, actually. They're like, oh, I like that word. So we have 3 people that listen. At least 3 people besides our parents.
They said, give us some Moorish.
Yeah. More of it. But how are we feeling today?
Doing pretty good. Can't complain. Excited to be here and excited for this episode.
Yeah, feeling great. Feeling great.
Y'all are still playing soccer, or we're done with that?
We're about to ramp it back up.
I think we are, yeah.
I haven't played in a little bit since the new baby, but now I'm going back on the team.
Andrew has a new baby. He's saying she's sleeping better, but little sleep deprived. But that's par for the course.
Yeah. Getting the old team back together, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, hey, exciting episode ahead here. It's officially gone full circle. The first podcast I was ever on was a podcast by Flywheel, and it was about leadership. I don't know what I had to say, but I said something on it. So we've gone now full circle. Bart Simpson, welcome to Tuft Talk.
What's happening, boys?
Oh, not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Just pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, pleasure.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, gladly.
And viewers home, you may recognize Bart from a animated series.
I do
The
exist.
Simpsons.
Yeah, I do exist.
In the real flesh, and you're not yellow.
I'm not yellow, despite what people might think.
Yeah, so I know
Voices sound similar as well.
Yeah, Bart is one of my best friends in the world, one of my favorite people on the planet. So I know this.
Wow.
I know this well. But you can go ahead and tell everybody, Bart Simpson, your parents did in fact not name you after
That is correct.
you little yellow man.
Yeah, thank the good Lord. But yeah, so how that went was I was born a year before the show. And my mom liked the name Bart, happy to marry a Simpson. They thought it would never stick, but here we are today.
Oh, it stuck.
It stuck. It still sticks every day.
Yeah.
I bet you, no kidding, 2 to 3 times a day, I get some kind of comment about my name. But like you guys being in sales, it's a great thing, great icebreaker. People don't forget it. And so I've just been using it to my advantage since 1986.
How can you not? I mean, you don't have a choice about it. There's no way around it. You might as well embrace it.
That's right.
I figured I'd just bring it up because
Let's address the elephant in the room.
might as well.
Right? I mean, come on.
His
We
name is
really
Bart
pulled some strings
Simpson.
for this episode.
Yeah, no one's going to believe this, but it is true. It is
Thumbnail's
true.
going to be great.
Yeah. So
But
that's me.
tell us a little bit more about this version of Bart Simpson.
So what do you want to know?
And whatever you want to
I
spill.
mean, we can go deep. Let's see. So I'm part of a company here, and just actually, this is how we met. Should we tell a
Correct.
story?
Let's tell a story.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting.
Story
So,
time.
Yep.
I don't even know how long ago now because I'm terrible with timelines, but
Yeah.
a decent amount of time.
Long time ago.
7, 8, 9 years ago, probably. I had seen Zach and his brother with their dad out to lunch here in Hickson, and I was like, I'm over here in this small kind of family business too, trying to find a way, make a way, figure it out. It would be nice to have like someone going through something similar, right? So I reached out, and I don't know, I think I maybe just emailed.
You emailed me.
Okay,
Yeah.
I emailed just out of the blue, found an email address, say, hey, we should go to lunch. And actually, I think it went something like I showed up to lunch. I was there first because I'm always early.
You were there first.
And,
And I'm always right on time, so that fits. It fits.
And so maybe when I first saw you, let me back up. When I first saw what I thought was you, it was Lucas and your dad out to lunch.
That's right.
And then when you walked in,
It was love at
I'm
first
like,
sight, but
who the heck is this? Like I invited someone I didn't even know to lunch.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that's kind of how the story started, and kind of our friendship, way back when. And in truth, we had a ton of similarities. You're a little bit ahead on the family timeline than I am, but our kids go to the same school. We've done a lot of life and even some things outside of that together, which has been super cool and exciting. Yeah. So to be on your pod is full circle.
Well, and it was as we mentioned previously, as we got these podcast series started, is we wanted to start with CMC centric things and around people at CMC and some platforms we have CMC, some machinery we had CMC, and then we wanted to morph into bringing in some other people from different walks of life that weren't directly attached to the Tufton industry or CMC, but that were partners with us in some form or fashion, and we'll get into it more. But Bart, of course, is our first kind of outside guest on the pod. So like I said, and you said, couldn't have a better one with a great friend. But tell us a little bit about Flywheel.
Yeah, so Flywheel was started in 1981, actually by my grandfather. So similar in a lot of ways, the family
Very much.
business dynamic. My dad actually worked with my grandfather through college. When my dad graduated college, my grandfather was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And so my dad worked with him for a very brief amount of time before he ultimately succumbed to the colon cancer. And he left my dad with kind of this bit of divine inspiration that really still drives Flywheel today in a lot of ways. Because my dad would tell you, my grandfather was not the type to say anything kind of deep and meaningful, even spiritual in that regard. But he looked at my dad and said, hey, Flywheel, which at the time it wasn't Flywheel, and we can talk about the name eventually, but Flywheel has way more potential than you can ever imagine. And my dad would say it was as if he literally saw what could be, but it wasn't, right? So what it was $2,000 in a checkbook and that inspiration. And so it's just amazing kind of with that inspiration was what my dad needed and didn't know he probably needed to say, I'm going to go out and I'm going to sell during the day. I'm going to print in our garage at night, and I'm going to kind of see what this is all about. I got a family, I got kids, I've got a mortgage, all the things. So let's see what we can do. And that's what he did. And so he would literally go out during the day and sell. Printing at the time is kind of really where everything started, was in the industrial decals and labels in that marketplace. And so he'd go to sell and print in our garage at night. And that's in a lot of ways, just the beauty of the American dream, right? Starting in a garage and then having opportunity and then going to get it. And it's kind of was where we started and is still kind of propelling us today of kind of realizing maybe what he saw. And the question Dad and I will often talk about is, did he see where we are today? Did he see something more than we were where we are at today? Or what was that, And being people of faith, we believe that it was not just some words of encouragement from a father to say, go get him, boy, like you can do it, because why would any father say, hey, dude, you got $2,000 in a checkbook, like go get it? Like you would probably say, go do whatever you can do, for your family and do the best you can do. So it's really cool to think back to that story and then kind of see where we're at today. We've grown exponentially, obviously, since the garage, and we've done a lot of different things, and we're still kind of, again, baking out what that looks like.
And I was going to ask, so I may have missed it in the story. Has it always been based in Chattanooga, or did it start in a garage in another city and then your dad took it and brought it to Chattanooga?
No, great question. So my grandfather moved down to Chattanooga with a crane company.
Okay.
So it's interesting because he was with a crane company, and then a great-grandfather, and I think there was I think we're from a long line of crane workers, apparently. And so, yeah, they moved down from Ohio with the crane company, and then it wasn't long after that Komatsu came in and bought them out. So where Komatsu is on Signal Mountain Boulevard or whatever that is right there. But they let everybody go. It wasn't long after. It was like 120 families or something moved from Ohio, and then they came in and then kind of did a reorg, which sometimes happens in an acquisition. So he was without a job, and but what he did was he was back then doing like drafting and things that obviously you do totally different today with computer, but he contracted that work back out to them, and then eventually got into the boom decals that go on the cranes. And so it was really cool because obviously he had an entrepreneurial spirit to be able to think about that and say, well, you know what, I can think about this differently and still get where I want to go.
Yeah, and I think we're a customer of Flywheel and a lot of the decals for our machines and different aspects of that is represented in what we sell every day. But y'all are doing more than just the printing side, which I think is you all have done a really good job of continuing to pivot and pick up different avenues of business. So kind of, I guess on a macro level, what all are y'all into? Besides just the print decal side.
Yeah, thanks so this is the plug part.
This is the plug.
Yeah,
Okay.
part.
Yeah, this is
The whole thing's
the
a plug.
plug.
Yeah, this is where you do your thing.
Yeah, let me put my magic on it then. No, it's really simple. We've kind of simplified things down to we do industrial print solutions, which is kind of what we've already discussed. We do custom apparel. So you think about the polos, the jackets, the things that you're wearing, your staff here, uniform programs, things of that nature. Everything from the most basic to the most bougie, we got you on that. And then merch is kind of in the same ballpark, but the hard goods, the things that you're putting your logo on in the form of your Yetis or your, Heartside coolers or whatever that might be. And then technology. So a big part of what we're doing now and where we're going is our online store technology, where companies who have thousands of employees really struggle with how are we going to get these materials, be it print, merch, apparel, out to our thousands of employees. So we spin up online stores that facilitate that whole transaction for them and really take the burden off. So we do a lot of different things. The roots of print are still deep, but the fertile ground for Flywheel has been in these other areas, and that's where we've seen kind of maybe the more explosive growth for us.
Yeah, and I would say that it piggybacks of when I came on CMC 10 years ago and just getting to know you through Zach and your company and just following you on socials. It's been interesting to see, and it's interesting to hear that story that you're talking about, the crane business, how you thought about something different. What I feel like you guys are really good at is pivoting and finding the next thing out there of how you can be agile and react to the market of what they're demanding, what your customers are asking for. So I think that's something that I have admired about you guys, and it was cool to hear that, how y'all are in those different avenues, but it always seems like y'all are good at focusing and also moving to where the market is going to go in the next little bit.
Yeah, and I think about every, besides the company store piece, every avenue y'all are in, we're partnering with y'all from a customer perspective, and y'all do a wonderful job. But knowing you well and kind of walking through this with you from a friend perspective during COVID, this is to me one of the, when I think back of people that you said the American dream, but also just people that just hustle, and I don't
find the opportunities out there.
And sometimes hustling can have in business context can have a negative connotation. In sports is a good thing,
right,
for athletics, but in business sometimes, but I'd say all the time, Bart's a hustler, and in the most in the most genuine complimentary way I can. And I think one of those times, and you got to talk about this,
sure,
is COVID.
Yeah, because
as you said, you're selling a lot of merchandise and giveaway items, things like that, a lot of trade show type work as a piece of what you do, not all what you do, but a piece. And then that just is gone. So you got this huge piece of your business. COVID happens. Boom. Trade shows are done. Explain where y'all then went. Because it's just you stem you went through the storm, and then you ended up on the other side of it better. And then your core business picked back up. But
right. Yeah. I mean, we weren't unlike a lot of people, in March or whenever that was that the world stopped. But I remember vividly sitting in my office, having sent everybody home, and the phone's not ringing, the emails aren't coming, things are not, they're just froze in time. They're just not. Things are not. Yeah. And just really thinking holy smokes, how in the world are we going to figure this out? And even, I went home that night, and I have just like Zach, you hosted kids from Hamilton Heights.
Yep.
Big, not any just average kids, 6'8" kids that eat a lot of food.
Yep.
I have a new baby. I have 3 kids already. I the weight of kind of the thinking about all that's proverbially on my shoulders to keep moving was heavy. It was so heavy. I can't even explain it heavy. Just like you guys probably, and people who are listening, you felt a similar way. And I didn't know what to do. And in those kind of moments, what I have learned is you can kind of go back into the corner and cry about it and hope that things get better, or you can get to work. So there's twofold. One, lots of praying. It's like, I don't know, but I know who does know. And my faith, as you know, is a huge thing to me and very important. So I spent a lot of time in prayer. And then I spent a lot of time getting jiggy with it, right? And what did that mean? I didn't know. Like, I just knew we had to go. And one of the things that was interesting, that was like kind of a precursor, as I kind of saw this unfolding, seeing it on the news. I'm like, oh, it's in China. And everybody's like, oh, it's in China. It's no big deal. And I saw it coming. Like, I saw, like, it's coming. And my mom works in kind of the retail and convenience and grocery and that kind of side of business. And she was like, Bart, you can't buy even little mini hand sanitizers anymore, like on the wholesale level. It's coming. And so what I did was, on the promotional side of things, there was tons of hand sanitizer and all these kind of things that were available because nobody was on it yet. And so I put in a big PO with one of my suppliers for in hindsight, I should have gone way heavier, but I'm still conservative at the end of the day. And I put it in immediately, like 20,000 units or something. At that time, it was very much a bad look if you had something like you stocked up on hand sanitizer, versus like, no, I'm trying to be proactive for my customers and have things in inventory.
Yeah.
That's a weird line for
I don't know if you remember. Going to need for the next 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember. Like, they busted a guy in Hickson with a garage full of Lysol or something, and it's like, oh, it was like the world's coming to an end. Which it was in some ways. But anyways, that was kind of the start. So we took that out to our customer base and say, hey, we have these if anybody needs them, and we sold them in the first 10 minutes of sending an email out. And then it was just this kind of like PPE pivot that we started pushing on every domain that we knew how to sell as much as we could sell. And it was, hand sanitizer to start with. It was masks. I did a lot of masks, and it, it was saving us. It kind of kept us going, if you will, on our team, and I didn't have to furlough or let anybody go. But I vividly remember sitting on the kind of the back porch, stressed beyond measure, and just praying like, we're doing this. I'm on the phone with Asia at all hours of the night. I'm working 15 hours a day. I'm doing it all. And trying to be still present with my family, which probably was doing a poor job at. And it hit me, and it was as if, the Lord and I were having a conversation out there, and he said, Bart, you always say you want to live open-handedly. Then why are you holding on to this business so tightly? And I was like, whew, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I needed. And the big thing is, and I don't share this with many until, I guess, you and now your parents and things.
Yeah, our 3 listeners, our parents,
and now
us.
the world.
I say that I say all this, and I'm gonna land the plane here, but to not give credit where credit is due, I'd be remiss. And so I sat there, said, yes, this is correct. My goal in life is to be generous and to live open-handedly, but I'm white-knuckled gripped around this business, thinking that I can do it, right? I can do this. And the reality is, I just need to kind of talk about my fear, right? I needed to confess my fear. And that was, I'm afraid of losing it all. I'm afraid of sending people home. I'm afraid for their family's sake. I'm afraid, I'm all these things. And I just kind of let it out there, just me and the deck and the good Lord. And I kid you not, once I got that, when I came to the place of saying, I'm okay living in a cardboard box. I'm okay if this thing goes to the moon. I'm okay anywhere in between, as long as I feel like I'm locked in with what you want from me. And so it wasn't a day or two later, fumbling around on Facebook because I was part of this group, just kind of like, I am literally looking for anything to, like, what is the next thing? Because sanitizer was running out. There was no way. We were actually spinning up a manufacturer just down the street.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, my buddy in Saudi started making them.
Yeah, I mean, everybody and their brother, right? So it's like everybody smells like tequila, but
yeah, exactly.
But you're doing what you had to do. But that wasn't it. So the big thing was I was on Facebook after this whole kind of thing, and I saw a post from a school in Texas that says, hey, we need some way to protect the kids at their desks from COVID, and we need basically a desk partition. And I'm like, we can do that. So we can do that. And that was the genesis of creating this school desk partition. A lot of people were making it out of acrylic and heavy, expensive things that if they fell, it could hurt a kid or whatever. We made it out of Coroplast, which is like your real estate yard sign type material. And then we made $6 million worth of them over the next 6 months. And so it was so bizarre because like our company went from an average order size of $1,500 to an average order size of $50,000. Clients that we had never dealt with in the education world to clients we were dealing with. How do we create a sales cycle and flow around that? How do we protect ourselves and protect the clients and deliver? We spun up 3 different manufacturing facilities other than our own because we couldn't keep up with the demand. And we had our best year in business that we've ever had, and so there were so many lessons laced in that time for me that has really formulated kind of who we are today, and also brought about the realization that Flywheel is kind of meant to live in the gritty times. Like, so these times that are weird, which is kind of like all the time now, whether it's tariffs or wars or whatever the heck is going on, it's like those are the times that the tough kind of get going. And I think it's times like for guys like you and me and all of us in this room to get with it and get after it and stay after it and think differently. And one of the things that I try to protect, and I know I'm rambling, but I'm, I guess, too passionate about this, but the one thing that I'll remember from COVID is I had time to think. I had time to get creative. And in my day-to-day, I could be quoting I try to have shift a lot of these things to different team members, but I could find myself quickly in the muck of quoting something for a customer that is important, don't get me wrong, but it prevents the creative thinking time that could be so expansive for a business. And so for me, it's like, how do you protect that time and not feel like you have to be doing something to make you feel good about being busy versus giving yourself the freedom to think about, okay, where can this go? If that makes sense.
It does. I feel that on a daily basis, so it does.
It's the constant pull.
Zach never gets free time.
Yeah.
But just thinking about that, and you said it, what would be, coming out of those times that you would say were kind of the top 2 or 3 lessons that still stick with Flywheel today that you learned from those COVID eras and how to manage those struggling times?
Yeah, again, I think it's a realization that it's not my business to begin with. It's my role to steward it as best I know how. And I'm not perfect by a long shot. I'm very fallible in a lot of different ways. So that's number 1. Number 2 is save time for creativity. And then maybe 3, I guess look forward to those times, and not a negative way. Obviously, nobody wants hard times, but don't shy away from them. Hit them head on, because ultimately you can gain ground, and if nothing else, you tried. You did your best.
No, I love hearing that kind of that synopsis of that time, because like I said, from a outside level, kind of walked through it with you and admired the way that you and the whole business went around that. Pivoting though, I also have admired the way that you all have kind of embraced social media and kind of the marketing around that. Where have you seen, I guess for Flywheel in particular, that change in the last, I don't know, say 2 to 3 years?
It's a great question. I feel like a lot of it is what you see, and probably what you're doing as well, was we're spinning these padlocks. We're trying to figure out the combination. So where can we access more customers? How can we grow our brand? Is it in podcasting? Is it in Reels? Is it in blogging? Is it on website? Is it at trade shows? Is it cold calling? What is it? What is that modality that will get us there? So what you see probably externally, all these different efforts of trying to figure out where is the customer. And as a B2B company like you, it's challenging.
Very tough.
And so you don't want to not do things, but we're trying things, right? And I think that's a lot of what business is you try it, you see what sticks. Everything has merit to it. It's just some things will be more impactful than others. But all you see in kind of our pivoting and our evolution is just us trying to realize fully what we can make out of Flywheel. Like, where can we take this business based in Hickson, Tennessee, like you, with a limited local market? You guys are obviously serving a global market, and we are too, to some extent, post-COVID than we were pre-COVID. But how do we reach people? That's our big challenge. How do we reach people that we can't meet at the gym? We don't see at the restaurant on the weekend. Like, there's not a big, huge group of corporations in Chattanooga that we can go call on and have this personal interaction. So we have to stand on top of the proverbial mountain, on every mountain, and proclaim our message and see if we can get people to hear us.
I was thinking about, Zach was talking about y'all would do a great job on socials and everything. I would say, prior to Zach coming along here, and then, the social media age came after a lot of our family had already moved up into higher up in the company. It wasn't necessarily a focus, but after Zach came here, we started building. He started winning the war of we need to be more present on social media and be out there. And then Andrew,
I had to start on the Facebook because that was the only one that the people around here knew.
Sure, yeah, I get it.
He won the early battles of that, and then Andrew came along and has done a great job with building he and Zach together done a great job of building our social media brand. But I guess I would be curious from your side of things, what do you see that industrial manufacturers or industrial companies could do well with marketing and social media, or what could they improve upon, just from your perspective?
I think a lot of times, and especially for our generation and even generations beneath us now, people are going to the internet to make decisions, obviously. But whereas maybe the generation above us and our parents' age and so on, they went to websites and read information, where our generation goes to social media first. Like, let's, that restaurant, let's go look at it on Instagram, and then you're making decisions based on those things. So I think, number one, be where your customer is. And then number two, how else better to explain the heartbeat behind what you do and the people. Ultimately, we're in the people business. How do you let them see the type of people that are on the other side of this business to do business with, right? And I think that's been a huge part of it for Flywheel, is when we go out and about, they can kind of already have an idea of the tone in which we operate, which has been probably one of the bigger things that we've seen.
Yeah, and you all do a good job. We're working on it, but just creatively keeping up with the trends and the times. I like watching it. And then you sneak on there every now and then and do something silly.
I think,
right. Yeah, I think you're 100% correct, though. The more you get out there and people can already, we had a great customer base, had great relationships, but as a new generation comes into our customers, they can get on and see what your company's about. That it almost makes that relationship starting so much easier, because they already have a feel for what you're about.
Yeah, and I think another thing that we had to hit a realization for too is, we're wanting to hire people in the local area, and if you see, there's an opening at Card-Monroe, and they may go look at social media, or they may never even heard of it, and you're already behind. If you're wanting to attract talent, you got to promote it. Right. So we've had to do a little bit of a shift and not just market to our customers, which is also obviously important, but also to the community and how we do that. So, being in a manufacturing environment, you got to attract talent. So social media is obvious one to do that. And one area in which, when we first started marketing, especially on social media, was let's market our machines and what our machines can do, which is important, like I said. But we had to do a little bit of a pivot there just to continue to attract talent, because there's more and more people that are coming into Chattanooga because it's a great place to live and work and do things, and so you have more competition for people. But
do you guys think you found, speaking of that, you like any kind of, have you unlocked any of the padlocks when it comes to this kind of thing where you're like, ooh, we noticed the clients really love kind of behind the scenes whatever of the factory, or like, is there anything that you guys have realized?
I'll let you answer this. I'm ultimately, I think my first like just broad answer to that is video. Like,
yeah. I'll answer it from the community front because I feel like I've got a good answer to it. One thing I've noticed just kind of monitoring how our social media videos perform is ever since, like Zach was saying, when Greg came on, he really harped on, we need to kind of pivot our social media strategy to start marketing towards community and talent. And one of the ways we kind of ramped that up was making good media around the events we do around the office, whether it's like Halloween dress up, we do a free throw contest every year. Those sort of things, even if it's like a small, like 10-second video, slow-mo, no audio, those outperform, any of the other, here's a picture of this person, here's the caption of what it's about. Just those videos that somebody can, be scrolling through their phone and have to do nothing to figure out what it's about and what it is and, who this company is. I think those have been a really big beneficial piece of us kind of pivoting towards more community and talent-driven marketing, I guess. But I don't know if you think of anything on the sales or like client side of things that has been.
Yeah, I mean, I think video for them too has been engaging, and I mean, it's easy for us to plug this now, but this podcast, and we're joking
for
about
real,
it,
that's great.
A little bit. But in all seriousness, we've had a lot of different customers that have told us that they've been listening to it and have mentioned different things that we said, and it wasn't just in the little teaser video we put out, so they're actually listening to it.
Yeah.
So I think just trying to meet people in the different, like you said, forms in which they take things in has been huge. Instead of just, it's on Facebook and it's on our website, hopefully you find it.
I agree. The video's been huge because it's just funny. I mean, just even like the simple interactions, like the free throw contest. I've been on the video, and it's like customers will just see it and they'll call me up and be like, how many did you make? Did you lose today? And so it's just having that extra interaction to where it's building relationships just outside. We're not always having a serious conversation about a machine, but just building that bond between somebody, a friendship, a partnership. It just goes a long way for that. And so, like you said, the videos have been huge for just, I think, in all aspects of our social media brand.
Of the free throw contest, Zach, how many did you make
why do we
this
go
year?
there?
I think the audience would like to know. How did our...
I was too good. I don't want to even admit it.
Okay.
Now, you played like pro internationally.
I did play pro international. And
there was a second day bracket. I didn't seem to see somebody's name on there, but...
Well...
Shots fired.
You saw Will Cards on there, though.
To be fair, I wasn't on there either, but...
Well...
I didn't talk a lot of trash.
If we're being serious here, the goal was not 10 feet tall. Okay? This is a fact. I hit the back rim on almost every shot. If the goal was 10 feet tall, it would have been a swish. So next year we're going to have to fix this. I will re-enter and I will prove everybody that my skills are legit.
Look at Andrew getting us off topic.
Yeah.
Usually us.
But this right here is I think is the grand point, is that human beings want to do business with human beings.
I say on top, people buy from people.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
100%.
you have to humanize your brand enough to be approachable to want to do business with, right? And so if you can have a free throw contest like any normal human would want to be part of, just to have fun and community, then again you open up yourself to the world and your customers and those who interact with you to see that heartbeat. And to see the care that you guys have for your own culture and your own team, to have these kind of moments with your peers.
And me and Will especially, but a lot of people like work should be fun, And I think when you're in a manufacturing business, and it's important to put out a quality product, and it's important to do your tasks and do them well, but you can get into a task, daily task system, and you just kind of get involved in that. And then sometimes you got to break away from that and have a little fun and relaxation. Speaking of fun, and I think what might be next for our marketing is some shoes, some custom shoes.
Custom kicks. You got to pair it with a custom sock though. But we can help you with that.
Sock?
Yeah, we got it all.
Hey, audience.
Hey,
Can
check out that flywheel.com.
This man walks in here with custom flywheel shoes and socks. The shoes, I'll let you have those. The socks, I'll actually take a pair of flywheel myself, and little Card-Monroe socks probably are needed.
Yeah.
Because all I have is flowers.
Yeah, you're repping Stance over there.
I just got the boring old standard socks.
Yeah. So
This man will merch up anything.
well, I mean, it is what we do.
It is what he does.
And so if I come in with the standard thing, then I would just be like everybody else. So
right.
I got to show you what I can do.
It's like
it brings along all those other products.
Yeah, and then we do the same thing because I mean, sorry if any of my friends are listening, but I judge people on what the carpet looks like in their house. Like I'm like
noted
because I can't.
All right, I'm gonna make a note.
This friendship may be over.
I can't help it. So I look down. I'm like, oh gosh.
If they don't have carpet, are you mad at them?
Well, it depends on what room it is and what type of carpet. Obviously.
Wait, I got a question. I got a big question.
Do you not on their toilets.
I was about to say, do you have carpet in your bathroom?
No, nobody wants that.
Well, some people did.
Yeah, Will and Andrew and I are obviously cousins, and so our grandfather had carpet in his bathroom and on his toilet, and that is disgusting.
Yeah, but honestly, it'd probably be me. I mean, I'm wearing shoes. I don't have flywheel sheets or anything.
Yeah,
but
what about like a toilet cover or something?
Oh man, you can think it, I can do it.
Yeah, we believe it. We've seen it. Let's pivot back to flywheel and the whole. So Bart, future flywheel. What excites you? What are y'all working on? What's kind of the next thing? I know you very well, so I know there's always the next thing for you.
Yeah. So. A couple things. One, we just launched the new website, so we're just kind of continuing to evolve.
What is this?
Flywheel.
What is this URL of this
flywheelbrands.com.
Flywheelbrands.com. All right.
So check it out. The whole idea is to make it more user friendly, so you can interact on the website a lot easier.
Is my testimonial still on there?
It may be.
Probably not.
Probably. We may have redlined that. I don't know. It wasn't good enough. Didn't make the cut.
Probably not.
No. So kind of. Again, just continuing the evolution of our brand, and that we want to continue to level up what we do, right? There's a lot of people. Everybody's got a guy. Before I came into your life, you had a catalog.
Yeah. .com.
Don't go there.
Don't go there.
No, that's okay. I mean, they do their thing.
Yeah. We can bleep it out.
Yeah. We'll have to hit that one on the edit floor.
I think one of the biggest things that through our website development process, we really thought about who is our ideal customer, and our ideal customer really will shape the trajectory of where we're going. And that means in like every media we do, everything, the way that we roll things out. And it's this individual that has highly custom needs and the ability to spend on those needs, right? So it's not someone that just says, I need 500 coffee cups and I can go to and I don't need to talk to anybody. It's someone that says, I've got 8,000 people that I need a gift to go to each of their homes, and it needs to be customized by each person's name, right? So the item has their name on it. And so there's, again, highly custom, more complicated things that some individual, if it's you out there, give us a shout. But if you're sitting at your desk like, holy smokes, how do I get this done? Then that's our type of customer. And so we're trying to make sure our messaging is reaching those people to say that, hey, we can help. And the whole kind of ethos behind Flywheel is to be the guide to our customer, helping to get them to success, whatever that looks like in their world. That could be just, great employee morale with giving them a cool giveaway. That could be reaching customers with a leave behind or a contract signing gift or hey, thanks for doing business with CMC gift. All those type of things. That's where we're headed. So we're really leaning into technology more, and really just trying to, again, be the best version of Flywheel that we can be for our customers.
This may be very open ended and kind of the last piece here. What about AI for y'all? Have y'all started any implementation of that?
I think we are using it in a lot of ways. Obviously, on the marketing front, on the content creation front, and even like in some some sense of reviewing agreements and doing different things. And it's an amazing tool, trying to figure out the best ways to utilize it. It's interesting. I will say we just closed our first online store that came through a ChatGPT prompt that the customer put in.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
they searched on ChatGPT, hey, online swag store, online whatever they typed in. Flywheel came up. They reached out.
Wow.
It's a really cool group out of Texas. And we closed a significant deal based on a ChatGPT prompt.
How about that?
So I would say to the marketers out there, you need to be researching what Chat and others are doing, because Google uses it too with Gemini.
Yeah.
What do you need to be providing its algorithm, what it needs so that you can be picked up in those results? Because that is the future.
That's cool.
That is the new search. Yeah. As you guys maybe know, it's like when you need to know something, you're not going to Google, you're going to ChatGPT.
So, yeah, like my 14-year-old's in the hunt for some new golf clubs. And so he put in the brand that he has now last night in a ChatGPT and said, what are comparable other brands? And it like spits out this. So, the teenagers, 14-year-olds of the world, middle schoolers, that's where they're going.
Yeah. Well,
that's where
that's good insight. Yeah. So I think you really have to be good about thinking through the prompts, because that's what's really going to help you get to where you want to go. And we've just scratched the surface, but we're using it in all kinds of different sales outreach ways that if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
It's a new way of trying to optimize how you're going to get to the top of the search engine.
It's one way for sure. Yeah. And, just like we're always going to be doing until the day I'm not doing it, so we're going to keep twisting on these I just see it in my mind as little padlocks. We're just trying to figure out the combination, and you figure out the combination, you get to go to the next level. And that's how it's always worked. That's how it's felt to me, is like, oh, we got that. Oh, look where we're at. Now we have access to that. Interesting. Didn't know that existed, and then just find new tools that make hopefully life easier for your team. Yeah. The future is bright.
It is.
Awesome.
It looks great.
Well, thank you, Bart, for coming today.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for being our first exposure outside of our CMC branch here, and we were glad that you could take the time to come. And where can everybody find you on social media?
So everything is just at Flywheel Brands.
Okay.
I'll link it all in the description.
And Andrew's got us.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
So you can find us. We're not hard to find.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. Appreciate the friendship, but then
Same.
Can speak to my admiration for your family and your dad and you and what y'all have built and done and continue to do and innovate in your space, which is something that, here at CMC, innovation's key. And for you all, it looks different, but you're still doing it on a daily basis, and it's evident, even stuff you've talked about today. And so admire y'all and your team. You got a great group of people working with you. So admire everything y'all are doing, and know continue to do literally next door, which is fun.
Yeah.
Like have a powerhouse in the
got the train right got the train cam up for Hickson.
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
it's probably down.
The train cam that's blocked now. Like it's got something in the way, like a tree or something. I'll show you after this.
Yeah, the tree is on the neighbors, so we'd have to cut it down at night.
We'll do it. Me and you.
It's also so funny, and talk about being weird, like weird marketing things. It's like, all we need just more traffic to the website. How are we going to do that? Oh, train cam. Yeah. And literally, it's the most visited page on our website. Like the amount of it's 500.
I have it bookmarked on my phone as can do an app. So
public service announcement.
Yeah.
For our audience here, there's a train by our offices, and it is awful. And it will stop. It'll literally stop on the tracks. It's a nightmare. So they're building their security camera. They pivoted it to where it faces the train. So you can go to the app and you can say, oh, there's a train there. I'll go around. So like I said, I have it on my phone now.
The amount
you can still tell when there was coming. It's just not as visible as it was.
The amount of emails I get if they think the train cam is down, or it's like, oh my gosh, this is just amazing how many people are relying on it, because they'll call in. I'll have messages on my desk when I get back. Train cam's down. I'm like, Why we need to monetize that somehow.
Yeah, you should, or at least put an advertisement on there or something.
I know.
You
No,
got your logo.
Hey, we're all about the community.
Yeah, that's right. Community service.
There we go.
There
There
we
we
go.
go. Yeah, but we appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having
Thanks
me,
for the
guys.
time. So yes, please continue to follow, like, subscribe, and hit the what, Will?
I'm not saying it.
I will. The Noti Bell. See you next time.